From complexity to simplicity, we have made maths easy. Welcome to Philemathics series. Subscribe now and let's make mathematics an exciting journey together.
This is an interesting question on double inequality, and to solve this, we have to solve the first inequality first and then solve the last. What do I mean? So we have to solve 2x minus 3 less than or equal to 4x plus 5. When we are done solving this, we solve the last inequality and then combine both. So for us to solve this, we bring x to one side and we bring 5 to one side. Now, I can subtract 2x from both sides. I will have minus 3 less than or equal to 4x minus 2x plus 5. And I can subtract 5 from both sides and I will get minus 3 minus 5 less than or equal to 4x minus 2x is 2x, and this 5 goes away. Minus 3 minus 5 is minus 8 less than or equal to 2x. And now I can divide both sides by 2 to look for what x is. Divide by 2, divide by 2. So 2 cancels 8, 2 cancel 2. So I have minus 4 is less than or equal to x. Then I will now solve 4x plus 5 less than 3x plus 7. 4x minus 3x plus 5 less than 7, because 3x minus 3x is 0. And now the next thing I want to do is to subtract 5 from both sides. 4x minus 3x is simply x, and 7 minus 5. So I have x is less than 7 minus 5 is simply 2. Now for me to combine these two, I have that minus 4 is less than or equal to x, and x is less than 2. So x is simply less than 2. This is what the final answer is, and that is exactly C. For us to find the values of P and Q in this expression, what we have to do is to complete the square of x squared plus 10x plus 18. And how do we complete the square? So if we have x squared plus 10x plus 18, complete the square says add and subtract half the square of the coefficient of x. This is the coefficient of x. So add and subtract half this coefficient. Half of 10 is 5. So we have x squared plus 10x plus half of 10, which is 10 over 2, half the square. We'll add and then subtract it. 10 over 2 all square plus 18. This is completing the square. And so for us to factorize this, we have x squared plus 10x. 10 over 2 is 5. This is plus 25. This is minus 25 plus 18. And so, it still makes sense, because 25 minus 25 is 0. It brings us back to our original expression. Now, we can factorize x squared plus 10s plus 25. This gives us x plus 5 all square, because if you open this bracket, you will exactly get x squared plus 10x plus 25, and then minus 25 plus 18. So our final answer will be x plus 5 all square minus 25 plus 18 will give us minus 7. And so from this, we will have that P is 5, and then Q is minus 7. This is our final answer, and which gives us B. This is a tricky question on perimeter of a circle. It says a wire is bent to form a square of side 22 cm. If the same wire is rebent to form a circle, find the radius. So let's assume this is the wire, and we are told that it's bent to form a square. And now this square has each side 22 cm. This 22 cm, this 22 cm, this 22 cm, and this 22 cm. And now this same wire that is bent to form the square is now rebent to form a circle. Now we are asked to look for the radius of this circle. What you will observe is that the perimeter of this circle will be exactly the same with the perimeter of this square. And so what's the perimeter of a square? The perimeter of a square is simply 4L, where L is the length of each side. And so the perimeter is 4 times 22. Remember that perimeter of an object is the distance around the object. So if we add this 22 into 4, is the same as multiplying it by 4. And so the perimeter of the square, which is the same as the perimeter of the circle, is 88 cm. So this is the perimeter of the circle because it is the same length that was used to form the square that's also used to form the circle. Now, what's the perimeter of a circle? It's given as 2 pi r. We're asked to look for the radius. We have gotten that the perimeter is 88. This is 2, and we're asked to take pi as 22 over 7, and this is the radius we're looking for. Now, 22 can easily cancel 88 4 times. 2 can cancel 4 2 times, and so we are left with radius to be 2 times 7. So we have that our radius is simply 14 cm. So this is our final answer, which leaves us with C. This is a word problem on trigonometry, specifically on angle of elevation. It says the point M is on the same horizontal as the foot of a vertical pole. Let's describe this. So if this point is M, it is the same horizontal with the foot of a vertical pole. Okay, the angle of elevation of the top of the pole from M is 55 degrees. So when you talk about angle of elevation, is the angle between your eye level and when you look above. So the angle of elevation will be this angle here, and we are told is 55 degrees. If M is 10 meters from the foot of the pole, this is the foot of the pole. M 10 meters means this is 10 meters. Calculate correct to the nearest meter the height of the pole. Let's call the height of the pole h. To find what h is, we simply use trigonometric ratios. Since we know that the adjacent is given as 10 and we're looking for the opposite, what comes to mind using SOHCAHTOA is tangent. So tan 55 degrees, we know it is opposite over adjacent. Tan 55 degrees, our opposite is our h we are looking for, and our adjacent is our 10. So our h is simply 10 times tan 55 degrees. If we press this on our calculator, we'll have that our h is 14.28 meter, but we are asked to leave our answer correct to the nearest meter. Correct to the nearest meter is the same as correct to the nearest whole number. The closest whole number to this, or the closest meter to this, is simply 14.0 meter. This is a logarithm problem and we are required to solve it without using the logarithm table. What do you have to do? So 2 log 4 plus 3 log 5 minus log 2. We can easily put log 4 as log 2 because 2 to the power 2. So 2 log 2 to the power 2 is 4 plus 3 log. Now for 5, what I can simply do is to make 5 as 10 over 2 because 10 over 2 is same as 5. So this is 10 over 2 minus log 2. So this is the logic. From laws of logarithm, when we raise the base to a power, the power multiply the log. So these 2 multiply these 2, we have 4 log 2 plus the logarithm of this fraction is the logarithm of the numerator minus the logarithm of the denominator. So this is same as 3 log of 10 minus log of 2. We still have minus log of 2. 4 log 2 minus log 2, we have 3 log 2, and then we have plus 3 log 10 minus 3 log 2. Remember, all these logarithms are in base 10. So whenever you do not see the base, it is usually assumed that the base is base 10. 3 log 2 can cancel 3 log 2, and so we are left with 3 log 10. Like I said, since in base 10, we know that log 10 to base 10 is 1. Likewise, log any number to the same number is just 1. So this is 3 multiplying 1. So our final answer is 3, which is B. This particular question tests our conversion skills. That is, it tests how we can convert from kilometers to meters and from hour to seconds. And we are asked that the average speed of a car is 63 km per hour. How do you express this speed in meter per seconds? So we have 63 km per hour. So you ask yourself, how many meters are in kilometer? We know that 1000 meters gives us 1 kilometer. And how many seconds are in an hour? We know that 60 seconds make a minute times 60 minutes make an hour. So the 60 by 60 seconds makes an hour. So we simply have to substitute this in place of kilometer and hour. So we have 63 kilometer will be 1000 meters, and the hour will be 60 seconds. 60 times 60 is 3600. So we can easily divide. 2 here is 5, 2 here is 18. 9 can go 18 2 times. 9 can go this 7 times. We are left with 7 times 5, 35 over 2. And so this will give us 17.5 meter per second. This is our final answer. That leaves us with C. This is a question on significant figures. We are asked to write 6.02517 to 3 significant figures. 6.02517 to 3 significant figure. Now, Before we go to trace significant figure, we want to ask, what's the first significant figure? The first significant figure is simply the first non-zero digit. And if you look at this number, the first non-zero digit from your left is 6. So this is our first significant figure. When you get your first significant figure, it's easy to get your second significant figure, third significant figure, and that goes on and on and on. So if 6 is our first significant figure, 0 is our second significant figure, 2 is our third significant figure. And now you want to check the next number after the third significant figure. Is it 5 and above? If it's 5 and above, you have to round up to 10 and then add 1 to 2. Since we have 5, we round 5 up to 10 and then add 1 to 2. So 6.02517 to 3 significant figure is simply 6.0. 1 plus 2 is 3. This is to 3 significant figure. This is what the final answer is, and that leaves us with C. This is a question on circle theorem that says, in the diagram, Q, R, and X are points on the circle center O. If angle QRX is 62 degrees, find angle SQR. So we are simply looking for this angle here. Now, for you to solve a question on circle theorem, you have to be equipped with the various theorems. And the particular theorem that will be useful in solving this problem is simply angle in a semicircle. The theorem says angle in a semicircle, they sum up to 90 degrees. Or angle in a semicircle is a right angle. And so, since angle in a semicircle sum up to 90 degrees or is a right angle, the angle we are looking for, let's call it Q. It means we must have that Q plus 62 degrees should give us 90 degrees. The reason is angle in a semicircle is a right angle. And so Q subtract 62 from both sides will give us 90 degrees minus 62 degrees. Q will give us 28 degrees. And that's C. This is an interesting question on number basis. And we are simply asked to find the value of x if 110 base x is 123 base 4 minus 111 base 2. To find the value of x, we simply convert each of these bases to base 10 because we work with base 10 in our number system. And so 110 to base 10 is simply 1 times x to the power 2 plus 1 times x to the power 1 plus 0 times x to the power 0. So this is really, we times this with x to the power 0, this to the power 1, this to the power 2. Same thing here, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. And so this equals 1 times 4 to the power 2 plus 2 times 4 to the power 1 plus 3 times 4 to the power 0 minus 1 times 2 to the power 2 minus 1 times 2 to the power 1 minus 1 times 2 to the power 0. And so 1 times x squared is simply x squared. 1 times x is x. 0 times x to the power 0 is 1, and times 0 is 0. 1 times 4 square is 16. 2 times 4 is 8. 4 to the power 0 is 1. And 1 times 3 is 3. 2 square is 4. Have minus 4. 2 to the power 1 is 2. Minus 2. 2 to the power 0 is 1. Minus 1. So this 3 can go with this minus 2 and minus 1, because minus 2 minus 1 is minus 3. And minus 3 plus 3 is 0. So 8 minus 4 is 4. And 4 plus 16 is 20. So we have x squared plus x equals 20. X squared plus x minus 20 equals 0. Now we have to factorize. Look for two numbers such that when you multiply them, you get minus 20. And when you add them, you get 5. The two numbers that comes to mind are 5 and minus 4. Because 5 times minus 4 is minus 20. And 5 minus 4 is 1, which is x. And so in place of x, we replace it with x squared plus 5x minus 4x minus 20. And so x is common. X plus 5 minus 4 is common. Minus 4. 4 into 20 is plus 5. Since we have factorized minus out, this is 0. We now factorize x plus 5 out. We have x plus 5. If I factorize it out from this first, I have x. If I factorize it out from this second, I have minus 4. And so if I equate both sides to 0, I have x plus 5 is equal to 0, or x minus 4 equal to 0. So we have x equals minus 5 and x equals 4. And now, since we are dealing with base cannot be negative. Therefore, x have to be 4. This is our final answer, and that gives us B. This is a question on depreciation, and by depreciation we simply mean the drop in value of any commodity. So when you buy a commodity today, just know that the value of that commodity has dropped. So the question says a generator costs 82,000 naira. It depreciates by 10% the first year and 5% the second year. Find the value after the second year. So since we know how to work with percentage, so let's start with first year. First year, it depreciates by 10%. So we look for 10% of 82,000 naira. So 0 cancel 0, 0 cancel 0. It gives us 8,200. So this is the depreciation value after the first year. So what is now the value of the generator? 82,000 naira minus 8,200. This will leave us with 0, 0. 10 minus 2 is 8. We have 1 left. 11 minus 8 is 3. And this is 7. So I'm left with 73,800. Now, second year, we are told that it depreciates by 5%. So we'll now look for 5% of this value after the first year, which is 5 over 100 times 73,800. 0 here. 0 cancel 0. And 5 times 738. 738 times 5. 5 times 8 is 40, rather than 0 carry 4. 5 times 3 is 15 plus 4 is 19. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 1, 36. So after the second year, depreciation value became 3,690. And so to look for the value after the second year, we'll have 73,800 minus 3,690. 0 minus 0 is 0. 10 minus 9 is 1. This is 7. 7 minus 6 is 1. 3 minus 3 is 0. This is 7. So it means the value after second year is 70,110 naira 00 kobo. What does that leave us with? It means the generator, when it was bought, was 82,000 naira. After 2 years, the value depreciated to 70,110. That means if the owner of the generator wants to sell it after 2 years, this is what would be the price. And that is A. This is an interesting question on percentage error. It says a student approximated 1.2476 to two significant figures instead of two decimal places. Find the percentage error. Before we look at the percentage error, let's look at the wrong approximation and the correct approximation. So the number is 1.2476. So the wrong approximation to two significant figure means after the first significant figure, which is 1, the next significant figure is 2. So it's simply 1.2 to 2 significant figure. And the correct approximation was supposed to be to two decimal places. Two decimal places simply means after the decimal point, you count 2 digits, so which is 2 and 4. Since the next digit after 4 is above 5, we round it up to 1 and add it to 4. We have 1.25 to 2 decimal places. And now, to find the percentage error will be the correct approximation minus the wrong approximation over the correct approximation times 100%. The correct approximation is 1.25. The wrong approximation is 1.2. The correct approximation is 1.25 times 100. If we subtract, this will be 0.05 and 1.25 times 100. I can multiply the numerator and the denominator by 100. If I do that, it simply move the decimal point 2 places forward. And so we'll have 5 over 125 times 100 over 1. 5 can go into 125 25 times, and 25 can cancel 100 4 times. And so it means the error is 4%, which is B. This question tests our knowledge of mean. It says the sum of the ages of 14 learners in a class is 168. A learner was added to the class and the mean age changed to 12.2. Calculate the age of the new learner. So in mathematics, we start with what we are asked to calculate. You can say, let the age of the new learner be X. From our knowledge of mean is simply summation of the variables or the ages over the number of the learners. We are told that the sum of the 14 learners is 168. If we add the new learner, we'll have 15 learners. So it means when we add the new learner, the mean changes to 12.2. 12.2 will give us the 14 learners, which sum up to 168 plus the new learner X. Since we added the new learner, the total number of learners will now be 15. Now we are simply looking for X. We cross multiply, we have 15 times 12.2, we have 168 plus X. 15 times 12.2 is 183. This is 168 plus X. We simply subtract 168 from both sides. 183 minus 168 will give us the value of X we are looking for, which is the age of the new learner. If we do this on our calculator, we have the age of the new learner is 15, and which is B. This is a beautiful question on polygon. It says the interior angle of a regular polygon is the same as its exterior angle. Find the sum of the interior angles. A regular polygon is simply a polygon in which each sides are equal. We are asked to look for the sum of the interior angles. We know from the formula that the sum of interior angle is simply n minus 2 times 180. That is, if we can know the number of sides of this regular polygon, we can then find the sum of the interior angles. What do we know from polygon? We know that interior angle plus exterior angle gives 180 degrees. We know this from a polygon. Let's say we have a pentagon which is 5 sides. We know exactly that this exterior angle plus this interior angle should sum up to angle on a straight line, which is 180 degrees. That is how we got this. And so if we are told that the interior angle and the exterior angle are the same, let's say the interior angle is X, the exterior angle is also X, this sum up to 180, is 2x equals 180 degrees, and if we divide both sides by 2, we'll find that our x is 90 degrees. So this is the angle of the interior angle or the exterior angle. So this is the angle of each interior angle or each exterior angle, since both are the same. The next thing we want to do is to find the number of sides. We also know that one exterior angle is given by the formula 360 degrees over the number of sides. So if we are looking for n, we know that one exterior angle is 90 degrees. So this is 90 360 over n, and if we divide both sides by 90 and take n to this place, we'll have that n is 360 over 90. This is simply 4 sides. So we can see that the number of sides for this regular polygon, in which the interior angle is the same as the exterior angle, is 4 sides. Now back to our formula for finding the sum of the interior angles. Since we have gotten n as 4, will now be n minus 2, which is 2 times 180, and this will give us 360 degrees, which leaves us with C. This question essentially tests our knowledge of calculating the volume of a cuboid and also how to convert from liter to centimeter cube. It says a cuboid of length 25 cm and breadth 8 cm holds exactly 1 liter of water. Find the height of the cuboid. We know that the volume of a cuboid is simply length times breadth times height. But instead of them giving us the volume in centimeter cube, we were given as 1 liter. So we have to convert 1 liter to centimeter cube. We know that 1 liter is 1,000 centimeter cube. This is what we will use here since our length and breadth are in centimeter. So we'll have 1,000 centimeter cube. Our length is 25, breadth is 8, and height is what we are looking for. 25 times 8 is simply 200 times h is 200h. To get h, we simply divide both sides by 200. So that 200 will cancel this. 200 can cancel 1,000 in 5 times. So the h, or the height we are looking for, is simply 5 cm, and that is A. This question simply tests our knowledge of mean. It says the mean of 3, 5, 3x, and 2 is 4. Find the value of x. You want to recall the formula for finding mean. It says mean is the summation of the values called x over how many values are in there. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 values. So the mean will be 3 plus 5 plus 3x plus 2 over 4. We are told that the mean is 4. This will give us 3 plus 5 is 8, 8 plus 2 is 10, 10 plus 3x over 4. 4 times 4 is 16. This 10 plus 3x. We subtract 10 from both sides. We have 16 minus 10. If we subtract 10 here, we are left with 3x. And this is 6 equals 3x. And if we divide both sides by 3, because we are looking for x, we get that our x is simply 2, and that is A. This question simply tests our knowledge of arithmetic progression. It says the first term of an arithmetic progression is 20. If the fifth term is 4/5 the third term, find the common difference. So you want to start with a formula. The nth term of an arithmetic progression is the first term plus the n minus 1 times the common difference. So if you are told that the first term is 20, it means A is 20. Let's look for what the fifth term is and what the third term is before we can combine that relationship we have there. The fifth term is 20 plus 5 minus 1 times d. And this is 20 plus 4d. The third term is 20 plus 3 minus 1 times d. And that leaves us with 20 plus 2d. Then we are told that the fifth term is 4/5 the third term, which means the fifth term is 4/5 the third term. We've already gotten what the fifth term is and what the third term is. The fifth term we have gotten as 20 plus 4d will equal 4/5 the third term, 20 plus 2d. To make our calculation simpler, we can divide both sides by 4. 4 here is 5, 4 here is 1, 4 here is simply 1. And so we are left with 5 plus d equals 1/5 20 plus 2d. Now we can cross multiply, or we can multiply through by 5, which will give us 25 plus 5d equals 20 plus 2d. At this point, we can subtract 2d from both sides and 25 from both sides. We have 5d minus 2d equals 20 minus 25. Just making things easier. 5d minus 2d is 3d, and 20 minus 25 is minus 5. To find what d is, which is the common difference, divide both sides by 3. And so the common difference which we are asked to look for is minus 5/3, which is B. This question simply asks, can you find the area of a triangle, an isosceles triangle to be precise, if you are given all the sides without any angle? It says triangle MNP is an isosceles triangle with MN equals MP 26 cm and MP 20 cm. Find the area of the triangle. Let's sketch this triangle. So if this is M, this is N, this is P, MN is 26 cm, MP is 26 cm, and NP is 20 cm. We have to find the area of the triangle. There are two ways I will solve this. There's a simpler way, and then there's the exact formula to use without doing any construction. For the first way, I will use Pythagoras theorem to find the height of the triangle. If we do construction, the height let's call it h. If I divide this 20 by 2, here will be 10, and here will be 10 cm. And so to find the height by Pythagoras theorem tells us that h square plus 10 square should give us 26 square. So h square plus 100, 26 square is 676. So that h square will give us 676 minus 100. H square will give us 576. And so taking square root of both sides, I'll have h to be square root of 576. And I'll get my height as 24 cm. So that the area of the triangle, we know that area is half base times height. Half our base is 20 and our height, which we have gotten, is 24. 2 can go into 20, 10, and so our area is 240 centimeter square, which is already C. But now we'll look at the second formula. Heron's formula simply says the area is square root of x times x minus a times x minus b times x minus c, where x is the semi-perimeter given as a plus b plus c over 2. So we look for what s is and then take the square root of what we have there. So s is simply, our a is 26 plus 26 plus 20, which gives us 26 plus 26 is 52 plus 20, 72 over 2. This gives us 36. So that our area will now be square root 36 times 36 minus 26, 36 minus 26, 36 minus 20. Area is square root 36 times 36 minus 26 is 10, 36 minus 26 is 10, 36 minus 20 is 16. Area is square root 36 times 10 times 10 is 3600 times 16. The square root of this product is the product of their square root. So area is same as square root of 3600 times square root of 16, which is 60 times 4. So that we'll get area as 240 centimeter square. So at the end of the day, we got the same answer, whether you are using the simpler formula or you are using Heron's formula. In this question, we have to calculate the mean and the mode. It says the table shows the frequency distribution of the number of chairs in each of the 40 rooms of various houses. Use the information to answer 18 to 20. Question 18 says, find the mean. Since we are given a frequency table, our mean x bar will be summation of the product of our frequency with our values over summation of our frequency. Our mean will be, if we take the product, we'll do 1 by 2 plus 2 by 7 plus 3 by 5 plus 4 by 4 plus 5 by 9 plus 6 times 7 plus 7 times 6. Then we divide it with the sum of the frequency. We already told that we have 40 rooms, so the frequency is over 40. If we multiply this, we have 2 plus 14 plus 15 plus 16 plus 45 plus 42 plus 42 over 40. So this will give us 2 plus 14 is 16. 15 plus 45 is 60. 42 plus 42 is 84 plus 16 is 100 plus 60 is 160 plus 16 is 176. 176 over 40. 8 can go 17 2 times, remainder 1 into 16 2 times. 8 can go 40 5 times. 5 into 20 is 4 times, remainder 2, add 0 into 20 again is 4 times. So this is our mean. Next, we are asked to look for the mode. Our mode is simply the number of chairs with the highest frequency. If we check the frequency 2754976, it shows that 5 has the highest frequency of 9. It means 5 and not 9. 5 is the mode because it has the highest frequency. Highest frequency. The next question requires us to find the median. The median value. The median value. Since the number of chairs in each room have a frequency of 40, since 40 is even, is n over 2 position. So our median value is at the nth over 2 position, which is where n is 40 over 2 position, which is the 20th position. That is where our median value lies. From the frequency table, if we sum the frequency, which is the cumulative frequency, we look for the 20th position. 2 plus 7 gives 9. 9 plus 5 gives 14. 14 plus 4 gives 18. 18 plus 9 gives 27. So it means our median value lies in this. Therefore, our median is still 5, which is B. It then means at the end of the day, the mean is 4.4. The median is the same as the mode, is simply 5. This question tests our knowledge of volume of solid shapes, specifically cylinder and cone. It says a cone has a base radius of 12 cm and height of 24 cm. Let's sketch that. So this is the cone. Base radius 12 cm and the height 24 cm. The volume of the cone is equal to the volume of a cylindrical tank with a base radius 6 cm. Let's sketch the cylindrical tank. So this is a cylindrical tank. With base radius 6 cm. We are asked to look for the height of the tank, h. You want to record the formula of the volume of a cone and the volume of a cylinder. A quick way to remember this formula is to know that the volume of a cone is 1/3 the volume of a cylinder, because you can divide a cylinder into 3 cones. So if I take this up, I'll have this cone, and this cone. So why do I do this? It's just to let you know that the volume of a cone is 1/3 pi r square h, and the volume of a cylinder is pi r square h. Now back to the question. The volume of the cone is equal to the volume of a cylindrical tank with a base radius of 6 cm. Since they are equal, cone, cylinder. So the volume of the cone is 1/3 pi r square h, and the cylinder is pi r square h. If you substitute, you have 1/3 times pi times radius of the cone is 12 square, and the height is 24. We get pi times radius of the cylinder is 6 square times the height we are looking for. The pi can cancel. 6 square is 36 into 12 square is simply 4, because 6 into 12 is 2 and 2 square is 4. So this is 4. 3 can go 24 8 times. Therefore, the height we are looking for is 4 times 8. And so the height is 32 cm, which clearly shows that the height of the cylinder is taller than the height of the cone. That is B. This problem talks about circle theorem that's not drawn to scale. It says in the diagram, O is the center of the circle. Length OX is 5 cm, length OZ is 3 cm, and angle XOZ is same as angle YOZ. Find the length of XY. This basically tests your knowledge of Pythagoras theorem, and it trickles down from circle theory. We know that in a circle theorem, a perpendicular line from the center of the circle divides the chord below into 2, or a line from the center of the circle is perpendicular to the chord below and it divides it into 2 equal parts. So it means there is same as here. If we bring out this, we'll have, so this is X O Y. This is 5 cm. This is 3 cm. If this is Z, we are asked to look for XY. Let's call this XZ L. Of course, this is also L from the circle theorem. To find what L is, we simply use Pythagoras theorem. From experience, I know that L is 4. How do I know that? From Pythagorean triple. Pythagorean triple simply says you get 3 numbers such that the sum of the square of the first and the second gives third. I know that 3 square plus 4 square is 5 square. Likewise, multiple of them. 6 square plus 8 square is 10 square. But for the benefit of those who don't know what I'm talking about, Pythagoras theorem says L square plus 3 square should give me the hypotenuse square. L square plus 9 equals 25. L square equals 25 minus 9. L square is 16. Take square root of both sides. We have that L is 4. But what we are looking for is not the length of xz, but xy. Since xz equals zy, the length of xy will be L plus L, which is 4 plus 4. Then the length of xy simply 8 cm. That's A. Question tests our understanding of probability. It says a bag contains 20 grain and a number of red identical balls. The probability of selecting at random a red ball is 3/5. How many balls are in the bag? The first thing you want to do is to recall the formula for finding probability. So probability is simply number of required outcome over number of possible outcome. For probability of red balls, it will simply be the number of red balls that we have over the total number of balls that's inside the bag. We don't know the number of red balls. Let's call it R. So it will be R over the number of balls inside the bag. Red ball plus the green ball, which is 20. We are given the probability of red ball to be 3/5. So 3/5, this will be R over R plus 20. So now we can look for the number of red balls. If we cross multiply, we have 3 multiply R plus 20 and R multiply 5. This 3R plus 60 equals to 5R. Take 3R to the right, we have 60, 5R minus 3R. This 60, this 2R. Can divide both sides by 2, and we'll get that our R is 30. But we're not asked to look for the total number of red balls inside the bag. We are asked to look for how many balls that are in the bag. Therefore, total number of balls is 20 green plus 30 red, which is 50, which is the total. And that is D. This question tests our knowledge of plane geometry and angles. It says in the diagram, length PQ equals length PR equals length RS, and angle RPS is 32 degrees. Find angle QPR. In questions like this, it's easier to start with the angle you know. So with the angle you know, you want to find out what other angles can you find using the theorems that you know. Let's go. Because angle RPS is 32 degrees and we are told that the length PR equals length RS, also the angle RPS must equal RSP. Angle RPS must equal angle RSP, which is 32 degrees. Reason is simply base angle of an isosceles triangle. Now we know this angle, we can find what this angle is with a theorem that says the exterior angle of a triangle equals the sum of the opposite interior angle. That means angle QRP is simply angle RPS plus angle RSP. The reason is simply the exterior angle of a triangle equals the sum of opposite interior angle. That gives us 32 degrees plus 32 degrees, which is 64 degrees. So here is 64 degrees. Here we already found as 32. But we are looking for QPR. Now, since these two lengths, PR and PQ, are equal, same thing we did as the base angles of an isosceles triangle. This angle will also be 64 degrees. Angle PQR equals angle PRQ or QRP, which is 64 degrees. The reason is same as base angles of an isosceles triangle. Finally, we are looking for QPR. QPR will simply give us 180 degrees minus 64 plus 64. The reason is simply sum of angles in a triangle gives 180. And this is 180 degrees minus 128 degrees. It means QPR we are looking for, if we subtract this, we'll have 52 degrees. And that's C. This question tests your understanding of circle geometry. And it's a simple question such that if you know the theorem that is attached to this, the answer is simply glaring at you. What theorem is attached to this? Is the angle at center twice angle at circumference. Let's read the question. In the diagram, P, Q, R, and S are points on the circle with center O, and reflex angle POR is 220 degrees. Find the angle marked X. Just to refresh your memory, in a circle theorem, we have the center, we know that this angle here is twice this angle here. What that means is, if this is x, this is 2x. Likewise, this angle here is twice this angle here. What it means is, if this is m, then this is 2m. That is exactly what we have here. We know what reflex angle POR is, and we're asked to look for the angle mark x, which is PSR. From what I've explained, to find the value of x, it simply means twice our x is what 220 is. Just the way here is m, here is 2m. Twice our x is what 220 is. This is angle at center equals twice angle at circumference. So to find x, divide both sides by 2. So that our x will be 110 degrees. And that's A. I've done justice to circle theorem, the different circle theorem that we have. Angle in a semicircle, angle at center twice angle at circumference. Opposite angle of a cyclic quadrilateral is supplementary. The exterior angle of a cyclic quadrilateral equals the opposite interior angle, and the likes. There's a playlist on that already. Check it out. This is an interesting question on circle geometry. It says, in the diagram, P, Q, and R are points on a circle with center O. Angle OPQ is 77 degrees and angle PQR is 130 degrees. Find angle ORQ, that is this angle here. A rule of thumb in solving questions on circle geometry is start with the angles you know and then have the circle theorems handy. Starting with the angles we know, angle PQR and reflex angle POR has something in common. I know that reflex angle POR, by reflex I mean this angle here, is twice angle PQR. How do I know that? Angle at center is twice angle at circumference. What that means is reflex angle POR is 2 times 130 degrees, that's 260 degrees. Now that we have gotten the reflex angle POR, we can get the obtuse angle POR. Obtuse angle POR is simply 360 minus 260 degrees. Simply angles on a point gives 360, and that gives 100 degrees, which is this angle here. So this is 100, this is 260. Then finally, the angle we are asked to look for, ORQ. We can easily get that using the sum of angle in a quadrilateral. We know that the sum of angle in a quadrilateral is 360. So that angle ORQ will be 360 minus 77 degrees plus 130 degrees plus 100 degrees, which will be 360 minus 130 plus 100 is 230 plus 77 is 307 degrees. Means angle ORQ we are asked to look for is 53 degrees, and that is A. In this question, we're meant to calculate the volume of the water in a tin, a cylindrical tin to be precise. Question says a cylindrical tin of diameter 13.2 cm and height 20 cm is half filled with water. Find the volume of the water in the tin. Let's sketch the cylinder. So we are told that the diameter is 13.2 cm, so that the radius with 13.2 cm divided by 2, which is 6.6, is 6.6. So that if we add this is 13.2 cm. And the height is 20 cm. The volume of a cylinder is pi r square h. Since our answer is left in pi, we have pi times 6.6 square times 20. Pi times 6.6 square is 43.56 times 20. Our volume will now be 43.56 times 20 gives 871.2 times pi will be pi centimeter cube. This is the volume we are asked to look for, which is A. This question tests our knowledge of solid shapes, specifically the volume of a rectangular prism. Fun fact, a rectangular prism is same as a cuboid. So a rectangular prism is same as a cuboid. We are told that the height of the rectangular prism is 9 cm. The length of the base is x cm, this x cm, and it is 7 cm more than the width of the base. If you are told that I am 7 years older than you and you know my age, to get your age is simply subtracting 7 from my age. That's what we'll simply do here. The length of the base is 8 cm and it is 7 cm more than the width of the base. It means the width of the base will be subtracting 7 from the length of the base, which means the width is x minus 7 cm. What's the volume of a prism or a rectangular prism? Is the base area times the height. And the base area is rectangle, which is length times breadth times height. And so this gives us the length is x times the breadth is x minus 7 times the height, which is 9. And so the volume of a rectangular prism as a function of x will be 9x times x minus 7, which is D. This is a question on solved, basically testing our knowledge of rationalizing a solved. It says simplify 3 plus 2 root 3 over root 3. So if we have 3 plus 2 root 3 over root 3, what we do is to rationalize, and to rationalize simply means to make the denominator an integer rather than a surd, and we do that by multiplying the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. So times square root of 3 over square root of 3, basically multiplying by 1. If we multiply this, we'll have 3 times root 3, 3 root 3, 2 root 3 times root 3 over root 3 times root 3 is root 9, and root 9 is 3. The same thing we'll do here. 3 root 3 plus root 3 times root 3 is root 9, and root 9 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6 over 3. So 3 can go with 3, 1 can go with 6, 2. So we have root 3 plus 2, which is B. This question simply tests our knowledge of simultaneous equation. It says, given that 3a minus 2b equals 12 and a plus 5b equals minus 13, find the value of 4a minus b. So 3a minus 2b equals 12, a plus 5b equals minus 13. Before we look for 4a minus b, we need to know what a and b are. There are 3 ways to solve a simultaneous equation. There's elimination method, there's substitution method, and there's graphical method. Let me use the elimination method. For you to use the elimination method, you want to put the first and the second equation in a way such that something can be eliminated, either A or B. If we want to eliminate A, that means I have to multiply equation 2 by 3. So this is multiply by 1, multiply by 3, to have 3a minus 2b equals 12, 3a plus 15b equals minus 39. Now I can eliminate a. 3a minus 3a is 0, minus 2b minus 15b is minus 17b, and 12 minus 39, that means 12 plus 39 will be 51. To find b, we divide by minus 17. Minus can go, 17 can go 51 3 times, I will have b as minus 3. We have gotten b from equation 2. So if this is equation 1, this is equation 2. From equation 2, we can find what A is. A plus 5B we have as minus 13. We have gotten B as minus 3. A plus 5 times minus 3 equals minus 13. A, 5 times minus 3 is minus 15 equals minus 13. So A, add 15 to both sides, we have minus 13 plus 15, which is the same as 15 minus 13, which is 2. So we have gotten A as 2 and we have gotten B as minus 3. Now, to find 4A minus B simply means 4 times 2 minus B, which is 8 minus minus is plus 3, which means 4A minus B is 11. And that is B. This question tests our knowledge of simple interest. It says it takes Y years for 87,300 naira to amount to 99,522 naira at 7% per annum simple interest. Find the value of Y. So we are given the amount and the principal with the rate. You want to recall the formulas we use for simple interest. We know that the simple interest is the principal times the rate times the time over 100%. And also the amount is the principal plus the interest. So we need to look for what the simple interest is before we can look for what the time is. The simple interest will simply give us 99,522 naira minus 87 naira 300. If we subtract this, we'll have the simple interest as 12,222. If we have gotten this, we can substitute into the formula 12,222 equals principal is 87,300 times rate 7 times time Y over 100%. 100 can cancel this 20. 7 times 873 will give us 6111, 6,111 Y, which is equal 12,222. So if I divide both sides by 6111, I will get Y as 2. So we need 2 years for 87,300 naira to amount to 99,522 naira. That's a lot. So the answer is D. This question tests your knowledge of bearing. It says a pilot flies from Lisbon to Kuala Lumpur on a bearing of 163 degrees. If the pilot flew from Kuala Lumpur to Lisbon on the same route, find the bearing. Let's sketch this so we have an idea of what we are trying to solve. So if this is Lisbon, this is the north, south, east, west. From Lisbon to Kuala Lumpur on a bearing of 163. If this is 90, then 163 will lie here. And then this is Kuala Lumpur. this Lisbon, this Kuala Lumpur. If this is 163 degrees, we are asked to look for the bearing from Kuala Lumpur to Lisbon. Remember, you always measure bearing from the north. The bearing of Lisbon from Kuala Lumpur will be from the north of Kuala Lumpur to this. And from alternate angles, we know that if this is 163, this right here is 163. And from angle on a straight line, this is 180 degrees. So it means his bearing will be 163 degrees plus 180 degrees, which gives 343 degrees. Therefore, bearing of Lisbon from Kuala Lumpur is 343 degrees. That gives us D. This is a question on gradient of a straight line. It says find the gradient of the graph of y equals 1/3 29x plus 10 plus 5x in the xy plane. For you to solve this correctly, you need to know the standard way of writing the gradient of a line. The formula is y equals mx plus c, where m is the gradient and c is the intercept. This tells us that for us to find the gradient of y equals 1/3 29x plus 10 plus 5x in the xy plane, we need to find just the coefficient of x. And since we have 29x over 9 and 5x, we need to add them together. That will leave us with 29x over 3 plus 5x plus 10 over 3. If I add this together, I just simply multiply 5x by 3, add it to 29x, and then divide by 3. 3 times 5x is 15x. 15x plus 29x. You could say 15x plus 30x is 45. Subtract the one you added before. That's 44x over 3 plus 10 over 3. The gradient, which is m, is simply 44 over 3. And that is c. This is the gradient of the graph given by this function. This is an interesting question on logical reasoning. It says, consider these statements. P, the weather is not cloudy. Q, it is not going to rain. If P implies Q, which of the following is a valid conclusion? If the weather is cloudy, then it is not going to rain. If the weather is cloudy, then it is going to rain. If the weather is not cloudy, then it is not going to rain. If it is going to rain, then the weather must be cloudy. For us to get the correct answer, we need to understand what this logical statement is. P implies Q means if P, then Q. Another way of saying this is the contrapositive. Contrapositive. It simply says if P implies Q, then negative Q implies negative P. So this implication and the contrapositive, they are equal. Now let's look at the statement that are given to us. If the weather is cloudy, remember the weather is not cloudy is P. The weather is cloudy will be negation P, then it is not going to rain, then Q. This is not. If the weather is cloudy, then it's going to rain. This is negation P, then it's going to rain. Remember, Q is it is not going to rain. So this will be negation Q. This doesn't look like the contrapositive, it's the other way around. If the weather is not cloudy, which is our P, then it's going to rain, implies negation Q. This doesn't look like it. It is going to rain is negation Q, because Q is it is not going to rain. If it is going to rain, negation Q, then the weather must be cloudy, implies negation P. This is not it, this is it. That is exactly how logical reasoning works. So the correct answer is D. If it is going to rain, then the weather must be cloudy. It just makes sense. If the weather is not cloudy, then it's not going to rain. If it's going to rain, then the weather must be cloudy. This question tests our knowledge of trigonometric ratios and Pythagoras theorem. It says given that cos P is 7/25 and P ranges from 0 degrees to 90 degrees, find the value of sin P from trigonometric ratio. If we have that cos P is 7/25, you want to remember that cos theta is adjacent over hypotenuse. And if we sketch this, we'll have these are 90 degrees. If this is the P, adjacent is where you have these two angles. So this would be 7, and hypotenuse is the longest side. This is our 25. For us to get sin P, which is opposite over hypotenuse, we need to know what this is. Let's call this H. We have to use Pythagoras theorem to find what H is. We know from Pythagoras theorem that H square plus 7 square should give 25 square. H square plus 49, 25 square is 625. H square, subtract 49 from both sides, 625 minus 49, H square will be 576. Because H is a positive number, take the square root of 576, should have the positive 24. Now we are looking for sin P, and we know that sin P is opposite over hypotenuse. It therefore means that the sin P we are looking for is opposite, which we have gotten as 24, over hypotenuse, which is 25. and that is C. This is a question on mean that says the mean height of three groups consisting of 20, 16, and 14 students are 1.67 meters, 1.50 meters, and 1.40 meters respectively. Find the mean height of all the students. Now you need to understand what's going on here. We have three groups of students. The first group, probably maybe they could be 20, 70, and the likes, but they are only students with the age 20. The next group, there could be how many numbers you can think of, but they are of the same age, 16. And then the last group, they are students with the same age bracket, 14. And now they did an average of each of those groups. For the first group, it was 1.67, the second group 1.50 meters, and the last group, those of age bracket 14, were 1.40 meters. These were the average of individual groups. Now we are now asking, what's the mean height of all the students? Now, since we know the average of each of the individual groups, to find the mean height of all the students is to simply find the average of the mean height of the individual groups. What do I mean? Remember that the formula for finding mean is summation of the numbers that we have over how many they are. So the average of the first group, let's call it S1 bar of age 20, was given as 1.67. For the second group of age 16, we're given as 1.50. The third group of age 14 was given as 1.40. The mean we are looking for will simply mean the summation of this mean, xi bar, over how many xi we have. This simply means x1 bar plus x2 bar plus x3 bar over 3. If we add this, 1.67 plus 1.50 plus 1.40 is simply this 7. 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 5, 15. 1 plus 1 plus 1 is 3 plus 1, 4. So the mean is simply 4.57 divided by 3, which is 3 into 4 is 1, remainder 1, into 15 is 5, into 7 is 2, remainder 1, to add 0 into 10 is 3, remainder 1, we have 3, 3, and the rest. So our mean will simply be to 2 decimal places 1.52, since 3 is not up to 5 meters. And that is A. This is a question that tests your knowledge of the laws of indices. It says if 2 to the power minus n is x, find 2 to the power n. 2 to the power minus n is x. From laws of indices, we know that s to the power minus m is same as 1 over x to the power m. So that means 2 to the power minus n will now be 1 over 2 to the power n, which is x. At this point, I can easily invert both sides. Inverting both sides simply means taking the inverse of both sides. This is simply 1 over 1 over 2 to the power n equals to 1 over x. 1 over 1 over 2 to the power n is 1 times 2 to the power n over 1, which is 1 over x. Therefore, 2 to the power n we are looking for is 1 over x, and that is C. This is a question on simple equations. It says, given that x multiplying 3 over 4 equals 1 over 2 multiplying 9 over 8, find the value of x. Now notice, this is same as saying 3x over 4, because x times 3 over 4 is 3x over 4, and equals 9 over 2 times 8 is 16. To find the value of x, we simply divide both sides by 3 over 4, or multiply both sides by the inverse of 3 over 4. Whichever the case, if I divide both sides by 3 over 4, I will have x equals 9 over 16 divided by 3 over 4. X will be 9 over 16 times, take the inverse of this, 4 over 3. 4 can go 16 4 times, 3 can go 9 3 times. So we are left with x as 3 over 4, and that is A. This question is testing our knowledge of variation, specifically joint variation. It says a variable z varies directly as x and inversely as y. If z is 12 when x is 4 and y is 5, find z when x is 6 and y is 45. Z varies directly as x and inversely as y is written as this. If we introduce the constant of proportionality, let's say k, it will change from this symbol to equal to kx over y. What we simply do is to find the value of k that connects this relationship, such that whenever we are given x and y, we can look for z. Whenever we are looking x and z, we can look for y. Whenever we are given y and z, we can look for x. Now, how do we look for k? We look for it by what we are given. Z is 12, x is 4, this is 4k, and y is 5, this is 5. 4 can go 12 3 times, and 5 times 3 is 15. So it means k is 15. Since we have gotten what k is, we write our relationship z as 15x over y. We are then given x as 6 and y as 45 to look for z. We simply substitute 15 times x, which is 6, over y, which is 45. 15 can go 45 3 times, 3 can cancel 6 2 times, so that we get z as 2, which is C. This question tests our understanding of factorization, specifically factorization of a quadratic expression. For you to solve this correctly, you need to know what difference of 2 squared is difference of two squares says a square minus b square is simply a plus b, a minus b. That is, difference of two squares is simply the product of their sum and their differences. So h square minus k square minus p h plus k. We use difference of two square on h square minus k square. That will leave us as h plus k h minus k minus p h plus k. We can factorize h plus k out. We have h plus k because it's common. We are left with h minus k on the left, and on the right we are left with minus p. So it means the factorization of this expression is simply h plus k multiplying h minus k minus p, and that is C. Tricky question on circle theorem that says in the diagram O is the center of the circle PQR, line SQ equals line QR, and angle PQR is 68 degrees. Calculate angle PRX, specifically this angle. The rule of thumb in solving questions that pertain to circle theorem is know the theorems and then start from the angles you know. When you look at this question, the theorem that comes to mind is simply angle in a semicircle. It's because this chord passes through the center, and that's how we describe angle in a semicircle. Angle in a semicircle, if you remember, is a right angle. So if this is angle in a semicircle, then angle QRP is 90 degrees, and angle QPR will then be 90 minus 68 degrees, which is 32 degrees. Now that we have gotten angle QPR, we now use the statement line SQ equals line QR. This tells us that this angle also is the same as this angle. If they are the same, let's call them X. And from sum of angle in a triangle, we know that X plus 68 should give 180 degrees. 2x plus 68 is 180 degrees. Subtract 68 from both sides, we have 180 degrees minus 68 degrees. We have 2x. If we subtract this, this is 112 degrees. Divide both sides by 2, we have that x is 56 degrees. Now that we have gotten that x is 56 degrees, remember from the beginning we said that angle QRP is 90 degrees simply because angle in a semicircle. So the angle we are now looking for, angle PRS, will be 90 degrees minus 56 degrees. Angle PRX will be 34 degrees. And that is A. Now let's circle back to the question. The mistake you don't want to make is to assume that this angle x is twice the angle at P. That is, angle QSR is twice angle QPR, invoking the theorem that says angle at center equals twice at circumference. I mean, look at the statement, angle at center. This is not at the center. This is where the center is, which is at O. So you can't invoke that theorem that says angle at center equals twice at circumference. This question takes our knowledge of how to find where a function is undefined, and then it trickles down to how to factorize a quadratic equation. It says, for what values of m is the expression m plus 1 over 3m squared minus 2m minus 5 not defined? In mathematics, a function is undefined if it is any value you think of over 0. Things like this, so you have 2 over 0, minus 100 over 0, pi over 0, square root of 2 over 0, and the likes. This expression is undefined when 3m squared minus 2m minus 5 equals 0. We simply solve this quadratic equation by finding the values of m that makes this 0. How do you factorize this? You look for two numbers such that their product gives, if you multiply 3m squared and minus 5, you have minus 15m squared, and their sum gives minus 2m. You want to look for two numbers such that when you multiply them, you get minus 15m squared, and when you add them, you get minus 2m. The two numbers that easily come to mind, it will be minus 5m and 3m, because minus 5m times 3m is minus 15m squared, and minus 5m plus 3m is minus 2m. So what do we do with these two numbers? We simply replace minus 2m with these two numbers. So we have 3m squared. Since 3 is the coefficient of m squared, it's wise to start with 3 plus 3m minus 5m minus 5 equals 0. Because at the end of the day, this is the same thing, because 3m minus 5m is still minus 2m. Now we can factorize easily. 3m is common in the first two terms. We factorize 3m out, we're left with m here, we're left with 1 here. Minus 5 is common in the last two terms. We factorize minus 5 out, we're left with m, and into minus 5, we're left with plus 1. Now, m plus 1 is common in these two terms. We factorize m plus 1 out, we have m plus 1, and in the first, we are left with 3m, in the second, we are left with minus 5 equals 0. For the product of two numbers to be 0, is either the first is equal to 0 or the second is equal to 0. So we have m, take one to the other side, or 3m equals 5, so that m is 5 over 3. It therefore means the values of m for which this expression is undefined will be minus 1 and 5 over 3, which is B. This is a question that connects bearing, speed, and Pythagoras theorem in one. It says a point Q is 6 kilometers due north of P, and R is 8 kilometers due east of P. A bus travels on a straight route from Q to R at an average speed of 40 kilometers per hour, how long does it take to travel at that speed? You want to sketch this first so you have a feel of what you are solving. And the sketch of this, you want to start with P first, since we are making reference from P. If this is P, Q is 6 kilometers due north of P. North of P is just ahead of him. So this is Q. And R is 8 kilometers due east of P. East of P is just at the right. This is R. And we are told that the bus travel from Q to R. So we just connect this together. This is 8 kilometers. This is 6 kilometers. Since we are looking for the time it takes to travel from point Q to R, so we need to know what this kilometer is, the distance. Let's call this D. As someone who is experienced in Pythagorean triple, you can easily tell from Pythagorean triple that D is 10 kilometers because this is 6, 8, 10. Pythagorean triple is 3 numbers such that the first and the second square summed together gives the third. For instance, 3, 4, 5 is a Pythagorean triple because 3 square plus 4 square gives 5 square. 6, 8, 10. Any multiple of 3, 4, 5 or any multiple of a Pythagorean triple is a Pythagorean triple. I mean, 5, 12, 13 is also there, and a lot of them. But for the benefit of that, we can solve what D is using Pythagoras theorem. From Pythagoras theorem, we know that D square gives 6 square plus 8 square, which is 36 plus 64, which is 100, and D is the positive square root of 100, which is 10 kilometers. So I've gotten the kilometers from Q to R. Since we are looking for the time, we recall that speed is distance over time. If we represent time as T, T will simply be distance over speed. And our distance is 10 kilometers. And our speed, we are given as 40 kilometers. 0 can go 0 per hour. Now we have 1 over 4 hour. We need to convert this to minutes to be able to see the answer correctly. We know that 60 minutes makes an hour. So how many minutes gives 1 over 4 hour? If we cross multiply, x will be 1 over 4 times 60. The time, which is our x, will now be 60 over 4. So the time it takes to travel, 6 over 4 is simply 15 minutes. And that is C. This is a simple question on substitution. It says, given that x sub n is 2n squared minus 3n, find x sub 6. X sub n is 2n squared minus 3n. X sub 6 simply means substitute 6 for n. This will be 2 times 6 squared minus 3 times 6. This is 2 times 36 minus 18. This is 2 times 36 is 72 minus 18. X of 6 will be 72 minus 18 is 54. and that is D. This equation that tests our knowledge of finding an equation if we know the root. It says the roots of a quadratic equation are -2/3 and -1/4. Find the equation. I will solve this using two methods. The first method is like a reverse engineering of how you solve a quadratic equation using factorization method, whereby you say x is -2/3 or x is -1/4. You take each of them to the left hand side. You have x plus 2/3 equals 0 or x plus 1/4 equals 0, and then you multiply both of them. X plus 2/3 multiplying x plus 1/4 equals 0. Now you want to multiply x, have x multiplying x plus 1/4 plus 2/3 multiplying x plus 1/4. If you multiply this, you have x squared plus x/4 plus 2x/3 plus 2/12. We can sum up the middle terms since they are of the same variable. We have x squared plus the LCM is 12. 4 into 12 is 3. 3 times x is 3x. 3 into 12 is 4. 4 times 2x is 8x. Then we have plus 2/12. This is x squared plus 11x/12 plus 2/12. Forgot to add our 0. At this point, we can multiply through by 12. So we have 12x squared plus 11x plus 2 equals 0. Let's look at the second method. The second method, let's call alpha -2/3 and beta -1/4. We know that the formula for finding the equation given the root is simply x squared minus alpha plus beta x plus alpha beta equals 0. Alpha plus beta for some -2/3 minus 1/4. LCM is 12. 3 into 12 is 4. 4 times -2 is -8. 4 into 12 is 3. 3 times 1 is 3. And this is -11/12. Alpha beta is simply -2/3 times -1/4, which is 2/12. We now substitute this into the formula. We have x squared minus -11/12 x plus 2/12 equals 0. We have x squared minus is plus 11/12 x plus 2/12 equals 0. At this point, we can multiply through by 12 to get 12x squared plus 11x plus 2 equals 0. That is still A. This is a question on subject of formula that says, given that V equals 1/3 pi r square h, make h the subject. What that means is, if V is 1/3 pi r square h, make h stand alone just the way V is standing alone. So what you have to do is to take away 1/3 pi r square away from h. How do we do that? The first thing you want to do is multiply both sides by 3, and so you have 3v equals pi r square h. Next thing is to divide both sides by pi r square. That's how you get h. So 3v over pi r square equals pi r square h over pi r square. So pi r square, we cancel pi r square, and we are left with h equals 3v over pi r square, which is a. Also, just the same way we can make h the subject, we can also make r the subject. So from this case, instead of dividing both sides by pi r square, we simply divide both sides by pi h. That means 3v over pi h equals pi r square h over pi h. So pi and h, we cancel pi h, and we are left with 3v over pi h equals r square. But we need r as a subject, not r square. So what we do here is we take the square root of both sides, and if we do that, square root of 3v over pi h is square root of r square. Square root, we go with square. At the end of the day, we have our r to be square root of 3v over pi h. The same thing, we can also make even pi the subject. This question tests our understanding of length of an arc. It says an arc of length 22 cm subtends an angle of theta at the center of a circle. If the radius of the circle is 15 cm, find the value of theta. I think it would be a good idea to sketch this so we have a feel of what we are solving. So if this is the circle, this is the center, this is radius, subtend an angle of theta. The length of arc is this distance from here to here, and we are told that it is 22 cm and the radius is 15 cm. We are looking for theta. You want to recall the formula for finding length of an arc. The formula for length of arc is simply theta over 360 times the circumference of a circle, which is 2 pi r. We are given length of arc as 22 cm. We are looking for theta. We are asked to take pi as 22 over 7 and radius as 15. 22 can cancel 22, so we are left with 1 here. 2 can cancel 360, and that will be 180. 15 can cancel 180. 15 into 18 is 1. Remember, 3 into 30 is 2. And so at the denominator we have 1 theta over 12 and 1 over 7. So we have 1 equals theta over 12 times 7 is 84. It means the theta we are looking for, if we cross multiply, is 84 degrees. And that is D. This is an interesting question on percentage increase that says the result of increasing a quantity X by 400% is 60. Find the value of X. You want to start by asking yourself what the question is talking about. It simply says if you have a number say x, and then you increase that x by 400%, meaning x plus 400% of x, the result is 60. That's what the question is simply saying. It's saying x plus 400% of x gives 60. That's what they mean. The result, which is 60, of increasing a quantity x by 400% is 60. So what's 400% of x? So this is x plus 400% of x is 400 over 100 times x, which is 60. If we multiply this, we have x plus 0 can cancel out. We have 4x equals 60. X plus 4x is 5x, and this is 60. Divide both sides by 5. I will have x to be 12. If you want to verify your answer to show that 12 is the correct answer, 12 plus 400% of 12, which is 400 over 100 times 12. 0 can cancel 0. I will have 12 plus 4 times 12 is 48. And this gives us 60. It then means that x equals 12 is the answer we are looking for, and that's A. This question tests our understanding of quadratic equation. It says, given that x minus 2 is a factor of 8 minus 2qx minus x squared, find the value of q. What do we know? We know from solving quadratic equation, if x minus 2 is a factor of 8 minus 2qx minus x squared, it means x minus 2 equals 0 and x equals 2 is a solution to this quadratic equation. That is a solution to 8 minus 2qx minus x squared equals 0. What that means is, if we substitute s equals 2 in this quadratic equation, we should get 0. So 8 minus 2q times 2 minus 2 squared should give us 0. This is how we find what q is. This is 8 minus 2 times 2 is 4q. 2 squared is 4, should give 0. 8 minus 4 is 4. So we have 4 minus 4q equals 0. If we take 4q to the other side, we have 4q is 4. Divide by 4, we have q is 1. And that is C. This is a question on equation of a line that passes through a single point. It says, a line in the xy plane passes through the point minus 9 and 10. If the gradient of the line is 1/3, find the equation of the line. You want to recall the formula for equation of a line passing through a single point. The formula says, if x1, y1 is a point, then the equation of a line passing through x1, y1 is y minus y1 equals the gradient m x minus x1. In this case, we have x1 as minus 9 and y1 as 10. If we substitute this, we'll have y minus 10 because m is given as 1/3, which is our gradient. 1/3 x minus 9 is x plus 9. At this point, we can open the bracket. We'll have 1/3 x plus 1/3 times 9 is 3. Since we are looking for the equation of a line, it's simply to make y the subject. So take minus 10 to the right hand side. We'll have y will be 1/3 x plus 3 plus 10 is 13. So this is the equation of the line that passes through the point minus 9 and 10 in the xy plane. And the answer is D. Thank you for watching.